Welcome to my show. My name is Marcel Johnson, and this is a freedom experience.
Man, like, so we be having a ball, like I always tell you, behind the scenes. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening, but, man, I'm so excited. First of all, my name is Marcel Johnson, and I'm super excited, man, for season 3. I can't believe that God just continues to give me a platform to come on here, man, and just drop gems in y'all spirit. So I want to thank you for liking, for commenting. You know what I'm saying? I actually do read the comments, and just for subscribing and, you know what I'm saying, coming on the journey. So hit the share button and let other people know about the movement. But I'm excited, y'all. Y'all know I'm always excited about my guests. Today I have my brother here with me, Jasano. You know what I'm saying? Let's go, bro. Yeah. Thank you for stopping through, bro.
Of course. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, I just want to say influencer, you know what I'm saying, creator and founder of, how do you pronounce it, bro?
It's Opya.
Opya, because I didn't want to mess it up. But influencer, creator, founder of OpyaStudios.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, congratulations on that, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like, I know whenever you're trying to start something big, it takes a lot of effort. You got to push through so much to even start it. You feel
Very
me?
True.
Yeah, so what inspired you to name, like, where'd you get the name Opya from?
So to be honest with you, it was one of a few names that I did have.
Okay.
After just final deliberation,
Yeah.
I kind of just picked out one that just went well with studios, and then just I ran it over a few people, and then it just instantly hit.
Where did it come from, though? Like, when you was thinking about it, like, Opya, like, how did you just come up with that?
It's just one of those random names that you just really like. Oh yeah, I was just Googling, and it just
Yeah.
popped, and I was like, okay, I kind of like the sound of that, so I just like wrote it down. And
Yeah.
then after I just processed an elimination, that was just kind of how I went, and I liked it kind of that way because it was like I birthed the word. I birthed it out of nowhere, so it was kind of cool that way too, for sure.
So what is it? Do you know what it means? Does it have a meaning?
Never looked into it.
Okay, so you just being free then.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta do that. You just gotta be free and let, you know what I'm saying, pick whatever God put on your spirit and don't think too much about it. So I wanted to ask you, how did that, because I kind of know the story, but tell them, how did that come about? Like, when it came to getting a studio and everything, how did that, you know what I'm saying, come about?
Okay, so originally it started with, I started out with a storage unit.
Yeah.
In the strip district. That's how I kind of started out. Storage unit in the strip district, like a 15 by 15, garage door, the whole setup. Lasted about 3 months, and then from that point, I kind of stumbled into a space in Regent Square that was about 1,500 square foot on Penwood Avenue. Got into that space, was there 3 years, and then from there, while I was in that space, it was originally just my space. That was the intention, just to be my lone photography studio. And then I had a buddy asked to rent it out, and then it kind of became a slippery slope from there.
Okay, so basically you grabbed the studio for yourself, and then from there, people start asking like, hey, bro, let me rent this out. And then from there, you're like, let me just keep renting it out, and then you started a business.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. And that just started with you going after your own dream.
Basically, it was basically me transforming myself from being a lone photographer to basically turn it into a media company. So instead of Jasano Brooks Photography or Jasano Brooks or just Jasano Photography, it became OpyaStudios, which was easier for me to market opposed to it just being a lone name photography.
That takes strategy.
I mean, I learned it from other people, so, you know, so for sure. It definitely took a little bit of strategy, but from what I know, it's easier to market a company than a name, just a name.
Say that again.
It's easier to market a company than just a name, specifically just because people believe more in companies than just one individual.
Yes, I love that, because you become like an entity, and then it's like, and you know what else, what I feel is like, entities is like unity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because it's like,
it's more of a team backing.
It's more of a
feels like
team.
There's more people behind, and then with more people becomes more legitimacy, and then from that point, people are more willing to invest in legitimacy of a union of people opposed to just one individual.
And see, that's what I be trying to tell people. Like, you got to get out of your shell. You got to stop thinking that everything is just about you and realize that becoming an entity and becoming, a part of a group, a part of a team, it makes all the difference. Sometimes your dreams is attached to you becoming a part of a team instead of trying to just be a lone shark and do everything yourself.
I agree.
Yeah, I love that so much, bro. So photography, videography, how did that come about? Were you always just, you know what I'm saying?
No, I was actually, it really started whenever I was in college. And I started like this little rinky-dink little clothing brand, got a few t-shirts made, and I wanted to get pictures made of them, taken of them. Reached out to a few photographers that I knew, and their price was obviously like too high for a kid that's in college with not that much money. So I was like, hey, with that money, I could go buy a camera. And then from there, I started taking pictures.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it developed into me taking pictures.
So the first thing was you were trying to start a clothing brand, and then you were like, I need models, pictures, and everything. So how did you start designing? Like, were you always just creative? Were you like a creative kid growing up?
I always liked making different designs, for sure. It just kind of came to fruition whenever I was in college and I had to buy a laptop. So then I bought a laptop, and then Adobe Premiere and Photoshop kind of were the foundation of me doing those designs.
Wow, bro. So basically, when you were a kid, did you ever think about doing stuff like that?
No, never.
Just as in college? What were you in college for?
I was in college. I was playing basketball, and then I was an international business major with a minor in political science.
Did you finish?
No.
You dropped out?
Yes.
Because you wanted to start your own business?
Yes.
So everything is working out, though. You had to really go with your passion and with like that creative ability. You had to like trust God. For sure. Because going to college is kind of the standard way that everybody tells you to do, but you took a step of faith. That was faith.
Yeah.
How did you get to the point where you were willing to say, I'm getting out of college and I'm gonna go after my dream?
Well, at that point, I was going to school in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
And I had a few friends that were making a significant amount of money outside of school, but they were still in school.
Yeah.
Me personally, at that point, I had stopped playing basketball, so I was really just trying to figure out where I was in life. And for me, I know that without the financial backing of any scholarships or anything like that, school can be expensive. So that I knew immediately, I'm not in school for any specialized field like a doctorate in like, nursing or lawyer or something like that. So I decided I'm learning all these skills online for free, so why not continue to finish the journey for free opposed to paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for it, for sure.
Listen, man, so I'm proud of you for that. Because literally, I be telling people college is not for everybody. Like, if you feel like you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, certain things that you have to go to college for, then go. But if not, man, think about an alternative way that you can still benefit from, you know what I'm saying, and still be a light to the world. And that's basically what you're doing, bro. And I love the fact that you turned something that was just for you into other people's dream, too. Because a lot of people are living their dream out by going into your studio and capturing memories.
I agree.
Like videography, photography, to me, I used to do that too. And what I think about it is you're capturing memories, stuff that is like almost priceless.
Yeah.
We'll never get this moment back. That's why I love this show, because I get to capture lives and memories. So like, is anybody else in your family artistic, or like, you know what I'm saying, did you get inspired by anybody else?
Not specifically in my family, no.
So you're like the first person to kind of stand out and do what you're doing?
Minus my brother, who is a music artist.
Okay.
At least on the media side, yeah.
What's your brother's name?
Owie.
Owie? Shout him out.
He already knows who he is.
You like his music?
Shout him out. Yeah, I've been listening to his music for a while.
No, I'm not gonna cap, but some people will be family and you don't really like their music, but you just gotta support them.
I mean, no, because I'll tell somebody if their music is trash. For sure. But I feel like that's correct as criticism, and sometimes you gotta say that. But
ooh, I love that.
Me personally, like, I do listen to his music, but it's not my favorite genre just because I don't listen to like real hardcore rap often. But for sure, like that's my brother, and I support him, for sure.
That's what I always say. Like, even if it's not your thing, just supporting your family. Let me ask you about that, bro. Like, how important is it to have family and have people who actually support you?
I mean, it's great to have support.
Yeah.
But if you don't have support, don't let that stop you from accomplishing your goal. Don't feel like because someone doesn't like your picture, don't feel like because someone doesn't buy your product that you gotta stop. You don't need that instant gratification or that validation for you to keep going, because eventually it'll come across someone that does, and that person could be the person that could change your life.
Come on, bro. I be telling people that all the time, but like family, it really does make a difference when you have family to support you. So I always tell you families, like, if you're a part of a family and somebody in your family is doing something positive, support them. Like, don't just sit around and just be like, I don't feel like it, and get over the jealousy, get over the insecurity, come out of, you know what I'm saying, that place of bondage, and support your family. It's so important to support them. But like you said, to your point, even if your family don't support you, you might just have to go and do it by yourself without nobody's support, just God's support.
For sure.
And he'll still lift you up and have you like my bro.
Some people don't even have family.
Come on, bro.
So, like, obviously, like, back in high school, you think about the kids that were rich.
Yeah.
And they got made fun of, you know what I'm saying? Well, guess what? Now they're still up. Yep. I wish I would have, like, you would make fun of them, but I wish I was that kid that had all that money and a good family and all of that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Now, whenever the roles get switched, you kind of wish you did have that, because now if you put that hustle and mentality with a financial backing and a good family, then you really can be in a different situation. But it's not a necessity either.
Yeah, it's almost just like it's an asset and a blessing.
Exactly.
But if you don't have it, you still can't let that be an excuse to keep you down.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you brought up just teasing and picking on people in school, because it's so much of your childhood traumas and different stuff you go through. When you become an adult, they follow you.
Exactly.
And what I picked on kids about in school being young, when I grow up and I realized, like, hold up, they're like up good. And see, the thing about it is, like, all right, so I grew up in the hood, right? But then in high school, I ended up going to another school that wasn't really the hood, right? Yeah. And everybody in the high school wanted to be from the hood that I was really from. And I'm looking at them like, bro, wow, like, y'all got pools, y'all got moms, dads, y'all got cars, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like so crazy to me how the roles switch whenever you get older. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to ask you, is your mom proud of you for everything that you're doing?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
You know me, I'm a humble guy, so I don't really listen much to the credit that ones give me. But I would hope so, for sure.
So look, man, I'm going to just tell y'all the truth. My brother is so humble that he doesn't brag on himself. He doesn't even tell you anything. He's so quiet and humble to the point I had to pull him out of his shell to even get him here. You know what I mean? So, but honestly, there's a Bible verse that says, you know, don't let boasting come out of your own mouth, but let it come out of another person. So that's actually biblical in what you're doing. And I love when people don't even know the Bible, but God just uses them to do what the Bible says anyway. That's just crazy to me. But I wanted to ask you, bro, like, talking about the Bible, talking about God and stuff like that. When you were a kid, did anybody ever talk to you about God?
So I went to Christian school.
What?
Kindergarten through second grade.
Ayo, okay.
Initially. So my foundation was actually in the backing of the Bible.
Yeah.
And then from that point, I went to public school. So it was kind of like a culture shock when I left a religious institution to public school. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it'd be way different. It was a real culture shock. Like,
so what are some things you were able to remember from that experience?
First off, it was like uniforms. Wear what you
Fact,
want.
I did wear uniforms.
You know what I'm saying? So you went from khakis and a polo every day to whatever you want. Girls went from like the black skirt with the overalls, white shirt, to whatever they want. And just from that to the language to the mannerisms, just everything was just like, whoa, like, this is crazy.
It's like you just get exposed to a whole other world.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes God do that intentionally. When you're younger, he teaches you about him. He tells you what's right, what's wrong. And then he just lets you go free into the world, and you just get tainted with everything.
With all the mess.
And then you got to find your way back to like that child, and then kind of get to those morals and that foundation, and then live that out as an adult. That's like a cycle of life that I was able to pick up on. And you know, I do life coaching, so every single person in the world has that same parallel. That's literally what it is. So outside of school, did anybody at home teach you about God or say anything about God?
My mom always spoke on God.
Yeah.
For sure. She did. So, and I think that's the reason why she initially put me in that school.
Yeah.
Because she wanted me to have that good foundation regardless of where we lived.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, so then from that point, whenever I did leave that school and I went to public school,
yeah,
I ended up going back to private school after 1 year. And then I left private school again and then went back to public school after that. So yeah, it was like back and forth for sure. Like,
that's fire though, because it was like you still got an opportunity to experience both worlds.
and it was like, okay, foundation, private, go to public, get exposed to it, go back to private, and then compare and contrast what I learned, what I was brought up on versus what I had seen in the outside world of it, and then kind of go back and forth. So I think it was a good situation, and honestly, if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything because it helped me learn a lot, and it gave me a good foundation as a young man to basically understand where the line is and where not to cross it, and to have manners and always be a respectable man for sure.
I love that, because I was about to ask you, like, bro, so what did it teach you? But you kind of said, like, what it kind of taught you. So within that process of dealing with all of that, I know that in school, out of school, we all go through, like, traumas. So what are some traumas that you know happened as a kid that followed you into your adult life that you might have overcame or you're still battling through?
I mean, a lot of things. Domestic violence. Some stuff with my parents, stuff with my brothers, just a bunch of different stuff that definitely had trauma on me for sure, and it definitely has followed me into my adult life. But at the same time, one thing that he's trying to teach me is that I need to work on it, and I run away from it.
Who's trying to teach you it?
You.
Cause, man, I'm having you do it. Okay, so I love the fact that, because a lot of people think you need to be perfect in order for God to bless you. That you need to work through all of your traumas. You need to stop doing this. You need to fix this. God will still bless you regardless. Like the Bible says, God reigns on the just and the unjust. So it doesn't matter if you feel like you're perfected or not. God will still bless you when you're in position to believe him for it. And I love the fact, bro, that you literally are in a position where you're not perfect, but you're working towards it. And the truth of the matter is, none of us is perfect, bro. It's like we're all just messed up, trying to learn life, trying to get better, trying to elevate. And the Bible talks about going from glory to glory to glory. It was all a part of God's plan to have us not perfect, but to go through the process of being perfected. It's like a beautiful journey. And some of those traumas in adult life, they affect you, and you're processing and working through them. How do you deal with that, though?
It depends. Me personally, I'm just a guy who does not speak much. So with not speaking much, if I don't talk about it, then I don't really have to encounter it that much. So I like to stay busy. That's one of my things. And I know that may not be obviously the most healthy way, but for me, I just try and stay busy, so that regardless if that means working on designs, phone calls, just staying busy. And for me, whenever I stay busy the most, it feels like the most blessings come through, because it seems like time flies quicker that way.
It does.
When you stay busy.
It does.
You know?
And it's because, bro, you're being productive and you're doing stuff. But I think, like, at a certain time, it becomes unhealthy. And that's whenever you need to take a break, you need to stop, and you need to process real life stuff. And I think that's the journey that you're on right now, because you are productive, you are being blessed, and God is with you still.
For sure.
But it's a balance.
Yeah.
So when you say that you run from a lot of your problems with work.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's healthy? Because you're not the only one. So many people, and I mean, there's people in their 40s and 50s that have been running for 30 years.
Yeah.
How healthy do you think that is, though?
It depends on what you're dealing with, but
it
really depends. But I mean, it's definitely good to try and find the root or the foundation of your problems and try and understand it for sure, because I feel like that's like initially the first part that you need to understand and accept that whatever happened to you, whatever happened to someone else, it happened, and, you know, seek the forgiveness. But just because there is forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to forget. And then from that point, you need to just start working on yourself and working on understanding who you are and how you actually tick, because once you do, then you'll become a stronger, independent individual.
Bro,
I believe.
That was a perfect response, bro. And I think, you did good. You did good. Because I feel like a lot of times in life, even if you are a runner, like I'm a processor. So before I run, I might be late to an event. I might be late somewhere because I'll sit still and I'll let God process the problem in my mind. Mm-hmm. And once he takes me through the process, I know how to handle it. Even if I'm not over it, I just know like, okay, I'm dealing with this and I have to walk through this journey with God. Or, okay, this is the solution and I can overcome it. Yeah. And I think that God's just put that on me because I help other people. For sure. So I got to kind of like, it's almost like God life coaches me. Mm-hmm. And then as I get life coached, now I'm available to other people. Mm-hmm. And I think with you, bro, you're such an influencer. So many people look up to you. So many people are inspired by you. You working on those background, deep-rooted things will open you up to a whole nother world that will allow for you to grow your team and affect more people and create just like a better dynamic as a leader over your team. And I think that's why probably God is really trying to reach you to have you so that you can kind of like, okay, now it's time to go up, then go up. And I think that's really what's happening with all of us.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wanted to ask you, bro, because one of the things that's amazing is that you're a father. Yeah. How has fatherhood changed you?
Fatherhood has changed me in many ways. For sure, it kind of, my daughter was born whenever I got my place on Penwood, like in the midst of that. So really what it did was it changed my life in a positive way. And at that time, I was actually still working. I was truck driving at that point. So I was like truck driving, and then in the middle of my route, I would stop at the studio for like my lunch break, get some stuff done, and then hop back on the truck and keep going. And then after work, I would come, get some stuff done just to keep the studio up and going. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I would go buy some stuff. We'll be on the road. I see a cool store, stop, grab it, throw it in the truck, and then take it to the studio. Wow. You know, stuff like that. Eventually, just because of where I lived, which was very far away from where my actual job was, I experienced a few lates and then I got fired.
Oh, man, okay.
So then from that point, it really kicked in for me like, okay, what are you going to do? Because at that point, I still have to like provide, you know what I'm saying, fully. So it kind of just kicked me into like real grind mode, and I just kind of, I've always been a guy that if I need money, I'm gonna find a way to get it. If I gotta go, and I've always been like labor oriented, so I can go and, oh yeah, if you need help with floors, I'll do it. If you need help with this, I'll do it. If you need help with this, I'll do it. So like I would go on like Craigslist, oh yeah, this guy's paying $150 a day, I'll take it, boop. Do that next day, next guy's paying $175, go do some other, like, so like, regardless of me having a full-time job or not, at that moment, those days in between, I'm gonna find something to do. Get some money. So really that just is what pushed me, and then it kind of like settled me down in a lot of ways too, just because I was like, okay, like I gotta figure out my life. And so from that point, it just kind of like grounded me more, and then it just gave me more of a reason to live. Wow. And by that I mean a lot of people don't really understand the value of life until you have something to live for. So when I had something to live for, and kind of like whenever we speak about your why, like why do you work? Why do you go do this? What is your why? Well, Jovi, which is my daughter's name, is my why, and that's why I continue to press and push harder, because if we kind of relate back to the last topic when we spoke on, oh yeah, well, we kind of made fun of those kids that had that situation. Well, I want to provide so that my daughter, I'd rather my daughter get made fun of for having that family than have to struggle. Period. So my goal is kind of to put her in a situation where like she has the house where all the kids come over.
I love that.
Instead of sending her off, sending a girl in today's society off is always hard for a father or any parent in general. So I'd rather provide the situation where they can all come and be under the parental guidance of myself.
Wow. Bro, you said so much stuff that I can tap on, but the fact that you had a daughter, it just like, I always say God is funny because he'll give you the daughter to kind of change your perspective on women.
For sure.
And I think like what would you do different? We're gonna tap into that, but what would you do different being a father than what was done for you? Like, what is one thing that you would say? You know what? I'm gonna change this.
I would say really just make sure that you are there emotionally for your kids.
Yeah. Wow.
For sure. I would say that because
Wow.
like a lot of times like parents think that they're there, but they're there physically, but they're not there mentally. And you want to make sure that you're mentally in tune with your kids so that they can feel that. Like, you want to make sure. So that's my biggest thing, is just making sure that I'm there mentally to understand my kids.
Yeah. I always say to parents, like, at the end of the day, you might think that you're there for your kids, but if you're not there for them emotionally, that means asking them how they are. That means checking in with their mental state, not just saying, like, you're a kid, you're okay, I'm buying you clothes and food, you're cool. Mm-hmm. You have to actually invest time and energy into your kids, because you are developing a human being that is going to go into the world and make a difference. So you want to spend time cultivating that and not just sending them off to be distracted by the TV or anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a great lesson to learn and pass down, so that when your daughter gets older, she has kids, she, insinuates or just like insists on being there in their life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Present emotionally. I love that so much. Okay. Now, bro, I want to play a game with you real fast. So it's called You Know What.
All right.
So, you know how, like, you know what I'm saying, in the hood or just period, people be like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Like, if somebody say something, you be like, you gotta,
what?
Yeah, like, you gotta respond like that. You ready? So, somebody's flirting with you because they want free service and they want to be able to, like, utilize either photography or a building or whatever. So they're trying to, it's a female, she's flirting with you and she's tweaking. Mm-hmm. And she's asking you about, you know what I'm saying, using the studio for free. You got to respond what you say to her, and you got to say, you know what?
All right. So that's the one?
That's the one.
You know what? Just like everybody else, you got to pay. It don't matter who you are, you got to pay. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a man of finances, and no one gets past me like that. So, yeah, for sure.
So you would be like, you know what? You still got to pay.
Yeah, you know what? You still got to pay, because I could double back and ask her, like, okay, so I'll call your manager and ask him to cut your pay.
Yeah.
To $0 for that hour. What are you going to say?
Ooh.
I'm feeding my family through this. So, like, you're feeding yourself through that, so, like, we both gonna be broke then.
Yeah.
So, like,
because at the end of the day, it's like you're building a legacy for your kids, so you can't take no shortcuts.
I can't take no
shortcuts. It takes, like, energy, and it takes, you know what I'm saying, time, so you got to be willing to invest to go up higher.
Yeah.
What is something that, like, if something was to happen to you, what is something that you would want your daughter to know?
That I love her.
That you love her.
And that everything that I do is really just for whenever I do exit the earth is for her to have. It's really just, like, everything that I build is really just gonna, like, it's supposed to be in place so that it provides at least generational riches at the moment, eventually, hopefully, generational wealth. Yeah. But that's just the goal, is just to leave something. A lot of times, like, I used to work in life insurance, a lot of people aren't left with anything besides a burden. And I'm not selling y'all life insurance,
you used to do everything. Like, it's like, basically, you're so well-rounded. I used to be like that, too, and people used to call me a Jamaican, you know what I'm saying? Because they used to say Jamaicans always got 10 jobs doing different things. And it's just so crazy, because all those different things has taught you different ways to view life and taught you how to utilize it in the position. And now that you're in that position, you know what I'm saying? Sure. You're being an entrepreneur, you're being a business owner. What would you say to anybody who's trying to start a business or become an entrepreneur?
You got to pay to play, for sure. That's the biggest thing, is, like, you have to understand that not everything is for like on sale, and you got to put your money in if you want to make money out. There's obviously different ways that you can get into business with minimum money, but I would say save up your money and put it where your mouth is, and put it into something that's going to make you some money, for sure.
Fire. Okay, I want to ask you this. In all those things that you're doing, and all those ways that I know that was an up and down journey. When I think about everything you went through, how did you see God's hand in your life the whole time?
I mean, for me, if I'm being honest, it was difficult.
Yeah.
And that's just because throughout my life, there's been a lot of things that have made me question why.
Yes, bro. Yes.
And I feel like a lot of people have that similar journey of why, if there is an internal being, if there is a God, then why would he let me go through this?
Come on. Yes. That's the question of basically everybody's life.
For sure.
Yeah.
And whenever you think about that, it's really just, you have to understand that you go through things obviously to make you tougher. Everything that I've went through has put me in the position that I am today, for sure. And you just need to understand that it's only a step. You just have to step on it so you can get to the next step. So you got to kind of stand on that pain. You got to stand on that hardship, get past it, and then you'll be on the next step, and then you'll be looking down on what you just passed over. Kind of like how they say, one day you'll look at the person that you are today and be thankful, because that's where you used to want to be, and now you're there. So
basically, it's like God had you keep climbing steps. And to me, it's like, you're so right about that. I feel like God gives you the ability to keep climbing to the next step. But you got to be willing. Some people give up. Some people just say, I'm staying right here, and they stay there. But inside, they know they're supposed to take that next step. And I think that if you're at home and you're, on a certain level and you want to give up, just take the next step, because eventually you'll overcome that. You'll overcome that. And basically, like my bro said, you'll just keep elevating until you get to where you're supposed to be. But what would you tell your teenage self about like you now, or like what would you inspire? What would you say?
I would say be more open to understanding and working with other people. I was always the guy that didn't want to work with anyone and just kind of wanted to do it myself.
Wow.
And I was always the guy that which kind of like contradicts what I said, but kind of like try and cut corners to get where you want to be. But really, whenever you cut corners, really what you do is you just lay a weak foundation, and eventually it crumbles. And then from that point, you got to rebuild. So if you lay a good foundation from the start, it'll be easier to continue to build, because you'll never fall from that point. So I think that's like the biggest thing.
I want y'all to rewind that and watch that again, because I think so many people don't build on that solid foundation because it takes longer. But they want that instant gratification like we talked about on social media. And when you're dealing with social media, you have to remember the things you see, a lot of the things you see, people are either faking or that took years to build up, and you're just seeing the result. And I feel like you can't compare your life with anybody on social media, because a lot of times it's fake. It's not even real. And a lot of times they cut corners, and what it is they're doing won't last. It'll crumble, because like what bro said, they don't have a solid foundation.
For sure. I mean, me personally, like I've been through generation, and I'm only 26, about to turn 27, but I've been through generations of media folk. And a lot have, gotten old, had kids, just stopped. It became a hobby, whatever.
See what I'm saying?
And it's because not to like honestly talk down on anyone,
no,
for
you're
sure.
Just telling the truth. We're telling people the truth.
It's really just because I feel like they didn't understand the ways to monetize any situation. So you got to learn to monetize it, and you got to do it the right way. And if you do it the right way and you learn to monetize it, eventually it'll happen.
It will, and I think sometimes even in the black community, we are not taught that. And like you said, people will make fun of, like the black community when being young, will make fun of the parents who are teaching their kids certain things. And that's back then. Now, I think a lot of it changed because they're able to see the results. But a lot of people in the black community, they don't know how to monetize their gift. You know what I mean? So you got to get around people who can teach you how to monetize your gift so that you can start making money for what it is that you do.
And don't listen to anyone who's not doing things successfully. A lot of people have information on things that they are not knowledgeable in. So
Come on, get into it.
For instance, like you can have your uncle say, oh yeah, you shouldn't do that. Well, he has never done it. So he can't give you that advice.
Facts.
To move forward, you need to go and connect with a mentor, or connect with somebody who's been there, done that, so they can give you adequate advice on what to do. And even if that person says don't do it, and you feel in your soul that you should do it, go for it, because at the end of the day, like
Facts.
The only thing that you could lose is money, and you can always make that back. That's really it.
So, bro, like everything you said today, I feel like so many people at home will be able to learn from it because these are life experiences. We're not up here just telling you things that we read or that we heard. It's stuff that we lived, and we're giving you, you know what I'm saying, the game for free so that a lot of times you don't have to go through what we went through. You can skip over some of it and just take the wisdom and the knowledge instead of sitting there and doing it that hard way. There is a hard way because you got to go through it anyway.
For sure.
But take the shortcut of learning people's wisdom and knowledge and not just thinking you know better. But if somebody is leading you down the wrong direction, you got to know how to swerve around that and keep moving forward. Bro, what is some of your future aspirations, some things that you see in the future for yourself and for your business?
I see Opia growing to a multi-state complex.
I love it.
That's one of my big goals, is just taking that community aspect of where Opia was born and where it's at now, and continuing to grow it, and then obviously moving into additional states, and then having additional business ventures on my portfolio as well, and then eventually perhaps maybe moving to a different country permanently eventually.
Bro, we got some of the same goals, bro. And I love that because the fact that you were able to accomplish so much of your goals and your mindset now, just imagine, give yourself 10 years. You know what I mean? And I love you said, and I keep saying I love because I really love it. It's like the fact you said move to a different country, it just says like, it speaks so much. And we'll talk behind the scene about it, but the westernized way of living is way different than, you know what I'm saying, other places. And shout out the westernized. We love y'all. But I'm just saying.
For sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the United States or anything.
We love our state, but you know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, just like anything else, I love diversity. So I love the knowledge of learning different places. And I feel like I get that going from state to state. You can go to the other side of the country and go to a place like Phoenix, Arizona, and learn a whole different culture and be culture shocked whenever you walk into a all Hispanic neighborhood that only speaks Spanish, and then you walk into a Hispanic restaurant that doesn't even offer queso with a full Spanish menu. So like it's stuff like that where that's a culture shock. So you got that in the United States. So imagine what you could do by going to Italy, by going to Jamaica, by going to these different places, and then it's gonna fully round you as a person if you understand different cultures, problems, and then not only their problems but the way they're progressing as well.
Bro, I love that because when I was a kid, my dad would always have me traveling and doing a lot of stuff. And as an adult, I would travel by myself. And people would be like, bro, you're going out of town by yourself, a different country, a different place. It's like, get your passport and travel. Get your passport, just leave and travel. And I think like the fact that, bro, like I just could keep him here all day because there's so much wisdom and knowledge in you. But you know, like we about to close the show out, but I always like to close it out with words of wisdom. What is something that has kept you, you know what I'm saying, through every season of your life, something that you kind of live by that you can tell the people about?
Let's see. Words of wisdom that I can tell everyone is, for sure, is just, if we're speaking on business, it's really just build your foundation very wisely, strongly, legally, and just a good core. Understand that a team is essential. It's not essential at the start, but it's essential eventually. And really just as an individual starting a business, understand that you specifically will thrive better as an entity opposed to an individual. That's my biggest thing. Because I told a lot of people that at a roundtable discussion that I had, and it was really just, instead of being Jasano Photography, turn yourself to OpyaStudios. Really. So that was the biggest thing. And that kind of doubles back on what we said at the start, for sure. For
sure. And I always say unity. You know what I'm saying? Bros basically telling y'all be in unity with other people, get united with other people on a dream or on a vision because you're stronger that way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing everything dolo, and that does circle back to what we said. But y'all know what my words of wisdom is. I said every show, it's time, find freedom, it's time.
Find God.
Let's go, man. I thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we only getting started, so stick around. Peace.
A freedom experience.